and welcome to another exciting episode of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of September 18th, 2017. My name's Trey, and we're going to get started. So we start off with One Piece 878. This is a really nice color spread. Still no Jinbei. Soon. Hopefully soon. Not gonna miss anything. I'm gonna be glad to have him in the color spreads. Because he's part of the crew now. So, very happy about that. I like Jinbei. Happy for him to be there. Can't wait for him to be in the color spreads. Pedro. Man, Pedro's still just being awesome like always. Since his introduction. I've liked Pedro this whole time. And to find out that the reason the Nox Pirates are called the Nox Pirates is because Pedro believed in the night just before the dawn that his moment was coming and his moment was going to be there to change everything. It's like, that's great. That's really solid. So the explosion's really cool. And obviously it freezes Brook and the Sunny and Chopper. And I'm struggling on my words here. Because as cool as this all is, I'm really afraid it's going to mean nothing in a little bit. Like, you have Big Mom's down. But she's going to get back up in a second. Luffy's got Katakuri, and we'll get back to that in a second. Perospero stands back up, and it looks like he's lost an arm. And that's great. I'm just afraid there's not going to be any lasting damage there. I really like long-term injuries that come from a character's sacrifice. That's a really cool thing to have. And I'm just afraid that Perospero is just going to have a new arm made out of candy soon, and everything's going to be fine. And I guess he's way more powerful than Pedro, so that's fine. But, I don't know. I loved the shot of him standing there with it looks like he's lost an arm. That's a really good shot. I loved all the stuff with Pedro and his flashback to his past with, seeing Roger and getting to see everything that happened there. I say everything. We got a very short flashback, but still, it's important because it characterizes why he did what he did. And it also sets Carrot's flashback in there, where she's remembering Pedro telling her that her time will come. This man has been living his life waiting for the chance to make a difference. And he has done that. And I love that Luffy recognizes that sacrifice. That Luffy's just like, hey, we gotta go. If we can't, then it was all in vain if not. We gotta go. And so then, Luffy, grabs Katakuri, and Katakuri's like, oh, I see. And I love that could either be for Luffy grabbing him, or for what Luffy's about to do, which is where Luffy pulls him into the mirror. After calling out to each and every one of the Straw Hats individually, and telling them to leave this to him, basically. He'll catch up to him. And he calls out Carrot there, which again, a lot of people have been making comments about that. Could just be because she's there. Could be because she's going to join. She's got her tragic backstory now. She's got her reason. All she needs is a dream. And if her dream is to carry on Pedro's dream, then she's good. She's set. We're all good. But this final moment of this chapter. With Luffy standing there with Katakuri. And Katakuri's just like, good job. You did good. And Luffy's like, yeah, we can fight with no interruptions here. And then they just look at each other. It's like, oh, it's about to be such a good fight. Such a good fight. I saw some people on the One Piece subreddit talking about how, maybe Katakuri doesn't actually want to fight Luffy that bad. I think Katakuri really wants to take Luffy down, especially after his comment about how he needs to stop him now before he can become a bigger threat. This is going to be the fight here. This is going to be the one where I really want Luffy to pull something cool out. It could be Awakening. It could be another form of Gear 4th. I don't know. I just want to see Luffy be able to beat Katakuri and then submit to everybody that Luffy is almost at Yonko level. That he's so close. Just a little bit more and he'll be able to make it. Because Luffy has crawled his way up through the power structure in this world to a point where he's very powerful now, and all that's really left of his enemies are the most powerful enemies. So, very much excited for the next chapter. I don't have my teacup today. I don't have my wolf mug. I have to have that back for next week. Dr. Stone 27. So we find out that Magma is the one that killed Gen, or that tried to kill Gen. Which means that Gen's plan with Senku about deceiving Tsukasa could absolutely still work. Which is great. That's good. Tsukasa might still kill him. I mean, Tsukasa's kind of a loose cannon, but, it could be fine. We also find out about the Grand Bout. Because, we had My Hero Academia's tournament arc in the anime. We're in a tournament arc right now in Food Wars. So it's time to bring a tournament arc up in Dr. Stone. Sure. I'm not upset with this. I don't think it's going to be a full-on tournament arc because I see this going more in the way of a single fight, really. But the Grand Bout is a really cool way to decide the chief for a bunch of people that don't really have a good way to decide a chief other than descendants that way. So it's a pretty cool idea. And then you have just Kinro and Genro being brought in, and Genro's just like, yeah, I get it. I understand. Tell me what you need us to do. And then you have some great character development for Chrome. He's just like, no, I really do love her. I don't care if they have to win, if they have to marry her. As long as we can make her the medicine so she lives and she can be happy, I'm happy. And then he calls himself a scientist. And Siku's like, I thought you were a sorcerer. And he's like, nope. I'm a scientist now. Let's do this. And so now they're going to make glass. The chapter ends with Siku pulling Suika's, mask off and talking about how they need glass, or they can use glass to do that. I don't really understand what his goal is. Maybe he needs her helmet for something. But I guarantee you we don't see Suika's face next chapter. Unless it is the first thing we see, we're not seeing it next chapter. Calling that right now. Put the stamp on it, because I feel like her face is going to be a running gag that all the characters get to see it, but we won't until maybe the last handful of chapters, or maybe an off chapter or a cover page or something like that. But I don't think we're seeing it. No, sir. My Hero Academia 153. Oh man, it's not as good as last chapter. I don't think much can be as good as the last chapter, but it's still a really good chapter. So you have Irinaka being upset about Twice and Toga, and he's wanting to get revenge on them. You have Toga being like, hey, I don't want to leave yet. I want to see Overhaul get his own, get his comeuppance. And Twice is like, I got a plan. And immediately Toga's just like, man, yeah, that sounds great. Tomura is going to be so happy. We have Rocklock talking about his family and talking about how he has so much respect for these kids now. Then we have Catharsis! The moment where Deku punches Overhaul's arm is just pure catharsis, just right here. I needed that in my life so badly. How did you know, Horikoshi? How did you know? It felt so good to see Deku get a good hit in on Overhaul after all that Overhaul has done. It just felt so good. The whole team comes in. Night Eye's like, oh my gosh, Mirio, you put up such a great fight, and catches him. Aizawa immediately puts a stop to Overhaul's quirk. Chrono. I forgot about Chrono. I forgot he was here. I 100% forgot that Chrono was in this room. And oh my gosh, that was a mistake. Because Chrono is the real MVP of this fight. Mirio knocks Chrono into Overhaul 2 chapters ago? Or was it? That was last chapter. And it might have been 2 chapters ago. Not important right now. Point is, he knocks him into Overhaul, who uses his quirk to repair all the damage that was done to Chrono's face, so that Chrono is able to become conscious again, so that Chrono is able to hit Aizawa with his quirk, which is the only reason that Overhaul is able to fuse with Nemoto. I never thought I would be talking about characters fusing in My Hero Academia, and this one makes perfect sense. Of course Overhaul can use his quirk to do that. He literally is doing cellular regeneration, disassemblization, and regeneration, just moving molecules around until he combines himself with Nemoto, and he's like, you won't mind, right? And of course Nemoto doesn't mind, because he's fiercely loyal to Overhaul. He doesn't want him to die there. And so the two of them become one person, and it's time to fight. And what I want to know, does he have both quirks? Is this a Blackbeard situation for One Piece? Does he have both quirks? I want him to have both quirks. I really do. I want this to be a really, really tough fight. between Deku and Aizawa and Naidai and overhauling Chrono. And then, probably twice in Toga will jump in at some point too. But I really want that to happen. I'm so happy that Overhaul fused with Nemoto. Yes! I never saw that coming! And I love when a twist happens, and it's not a twist that just doesn't make sense. It's a twist that makes perfect sense in the world of the series because of what we already know about quirks, because of what we already know about the areas and the layouts and all that fun stuff, and I love it. Sorry, I keep thinking somebody's at my door because I keep hearing the cat over there. But, yeah, great chapter. Great chapter. Robot and Laserbeam 25. So this is what I would normally say is like a wind-down chapter. Except, for Robot Laserbeam, there's no such thing. Robo's exhausted. They have a bath time flashback where you get to see Robo being very robotic and how he's scrubbing 3 times everywhere. Suzaku's showing off his body, because that's perfect for Suzaku. Robo's declaration that no, he wasn't trying to hit Suzaku's ball, but that he was trying to hit the hole with that shot. Just the reactions all around the board there, and then Tohoko gets up and leaves. The whole group, they're just like, hey, we'll see you next time. And it's like they weren't holding back, that's clear, but they also weren't doing their best either. They weren't trying to exhaust themselves, trying to give up everything they had to do. And the rest of the team knows that too. Then you get this moment where Robo goes to the practice range. And he makes that shot again. And he sees the difference in making that shot now and making that shot before. Now that he can remember everybody yelling out for him, everybody calling out for him. And he says he was wrong. That golf is fun. And it's just such a good frame. It's such a good panel. It's, I want that as a wallpaper. And then you find out that Yozan is also practicing? And that he's almost shot through the net? And he tells Robo he better catch up fast or he's going to get left behind. I was like, yeah! Let's go! Let's go! I just want to see these two face off again now. Because before, when they faced off, it was cool. Yozan was cool. But Robo didn't care that much about golf, really. He just kind of didn't want to lose. And now he actually cares. It's like, yeah! I want to see that fight really badly now. I say fight, that match. I mean, it's a sports anime. It's basically a fight. But, good chapter. Food Wars 231. So, I love the fact that this is not 3 one-on-ones. This is a team versus 3 individuals. Because this is going to be the thing that makes the difference in skill level. Because the team is going to be covering for each other's weaknesses. And this is the best team to do that with, too. Megumi, Takumi, and Soma have been a team basically since Takumi's introduction. Like, obviously, Takumi was an enemy then, and it was like, oh no, Soma, I'm gonna beat you and show you why my style's better than yours. But ever since then, they've been rivals, and the 3 have been kind of working together on stuff for a long time anyway. And then Soma tells Takumi that they're sibling disciples now, which means as siblings, they'll be able to sync everything together. And it's just a really cool, dynamic these 3 have. And going up against the 3 they're going up against, there is no teamwork there. And if these 3 can pull out some kind of team organization against our 3 heroes, then I'll be very surprised. As if that wasn't enough, they immediately come together and discuss what they want to do. Like, who's going to make what. We get Takumi goes up to Aizen and faces down with him. Get Soma going to Saito. Megumi continues to remember, all the different things Shinomiya taught her. And then specifically says she wants to fight Momo. And then Saito and Soma have this great ending spread where the rice fight's about to begin and they're both, decked out as samurai. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Because Mimisaka versus Saito was really cool. The perfect trace flash and everything there. But this is now going to be Soma as the restaurant cook versus Saito. the sushi samurai. I tripped over sushi for some reason there. Of all the words, Trey, why is it sushi? Regardless, very, very excited for this chapter. For the next coming chapters, that is. This was a really solid chapter. I'm looking forward to more. We never learned 31. Yuiga gets to go to cram school for free, and you have one of my favorite short mini panels in the entire series, which is just Yuiga so happy at the word free. And he winds up sitting by Asumi Kominami, who is a Ronin. Not to be confused with the samurai. She is not a college student, she's a high school student who graduated and didn't get into the college she was reaching for. So she's having to take all these extra classes to try and prepare herself to retake that exam again. She failed her entrance exams. It happens. It's unfortunate, but it happens. And so she's very dedicated to this. She basically mentors Yuiga in this chapter into how cram school works by paying very precise attention, taking very quick notes, and letting him see her notes so that he can get caught up as well. Which is a very kind thing to do. You also get translator notes here, right about here for Senpai and Kohai, because obviously, Yuiga figures out that Asumi was from his school, and that she's technically his senpai. And I saw some comments on the manga subreddit where people were like, why do we even have these here? Everybody knows what Senpai and Kohai are. But no, not everybody knows what Senpai and Kohai are. And having a term like that with these specific characters is probably going to come up quite a bit over the course of the next couple chapters. Having a note for it there is absolutely reasonable. I was glad it was there, even though, obviously I know what a senpai is. I have a shirt that says, Kawaii in the street, senpai in the sheets. So, gonna have to wear that at some point now that I've said that. Probably shouldn't have said it in the first place. Regardless, very glad that was in there. Translator notes are important. Because not everybody has been reading manga for years. And remember that even you, at some point, dear listener, needed translator notes for something. So, Yuiga shares this food with the senpai, and Asumi is very thankful for the food, because she didn't bring any and she's broke. We'll see that come back where that pays off. The knowledge that she's broke pays off very well. Very happy to have little hints like that will lead into things. On his way home, he gets lost, and he's cornered by these guys. Sorry, I panicked there for a second. I knocked my pop filter out of the way. And he's cornered by these guys who lead him to a maid cafe and sit him down and are like, we'll be right back, basically. And then he's charged what's it called? A sitting fee. That's it. How did I forget that? He's charged a sitting fee. And it's a really clever scam. Because you find young guys and you take them to a maid cafe where they're probably going to spend some money. And just in case they don't spend any money, you sit them down and you charge them a sitting fee. And then, they have to at least pay that much. And they know where the place is. They'll probably come back. This would work perfectly, except for the fact that Yuiga doesn't have very much money on him at all. He has roughly the equivalent of almost 500 yen, which is roughly equivalent to $4. And half of that is going to the bus fee to get home. I love the fact that 1,000 yen is all that this fee is, and that's roughly equivalent to $8, give or take some. But that I'm sure they're going, why is he not just paying this? And Yuiga's over there like, goodbye, I'm so sorry, my siblings, and Ogata, and Furuhashi, and Takamoto, I'm so sorry, I'm going to have to work the rest of my life now, I won't be able to teach you anymore. So really, really cool dynamic there of this guy's poor, he doesn't have any money, and he's super panicking because he's been put in a situation he's entirely unfamiliar with. I very much like characters like this, who don't immediately go to the, oh no, what am I going to do? Or I've got to fight. He knows exactly what he's got to do to solve this problem. It just, he wants to say his goodbyes first. And of course, he's saved by the fact that Asumi comes in as Ashumi the Pixie Maid. I can see that Asumi is probably going to be a new member of the harem. She's going to be the senpai, which is weird because I was pretty sure that Yuiga was filling that role in the harem, while also filling the main character role, and then we already had Sensei, so we didn't really need senpai, but hey, I'm not complaining. I like Asumi. She's a fun character so far. She's also the token lolly, and, that is what it is. There's always seems like there's going to be a lolly, but at least this lolly is 19 and is not 14 or something. But, she's fine. I don't dislike her. I don't know that we needed another girl in the harem, honestly. We've already got 5. And that was, Sekijo kind of counts. I'd say kind of 5. Close to 5. 4.5. We've got 4.5 already. We don't really need... Now we got 5.5, and I don't know how I feel about 5.5. That might be too many. But we shall see. I like Asumi as a character, so I'm not against her being here. I just don't know that we needed the lolly. We already had the sports girl, and we already had the glasses girl, and we already had the flat girl, and then the sensei. At the same time, though, none of these characters are their tropes. These characters all have extra things about them that I really enjoy. Like the sensei, Kurisu is also, she cares a lot about the kids' futures, but doesn't know how to address that. And so she gets harsher than she needs to be at times. I feel like I talk about We Never Learned way more than I talk about anything else in the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdowns. It's not really fair, but I really like We Never Learned. And at some point I might just start doing separate videos just for We Never Learned, because of how often they subvert these tropes. You have Furuhashi is the stereotypical flat girl, but she's also really smart. She's also the wise character in how things should be done with girls when it comes to the feelings that everybody has for Yuiga. And she's also the one that figures out almost immediately how she feels about him and doesn't know what to do with it. Whereas everybody else is like, could it be? Could it be? Takamoto also kind of has that, but at the same time, Takamoto also has the whole, I've loved him for a long time thing. But Takamoto also is, I'm going to bear all the responsibility myself and not bother other people character. So there's a lot of layers to all these characters, and I really appreciate that about them. And so I'm looking forward, where I'm going with this, I'm coming back to my original point of I'm looking forward to more of Asumi and what we find out about her. Viewer, I see you over there on the other side of that camera, giving me that look going, you want to keep talking about We Never Learned, don't you? Surprise, surprise, we're going to move on to Black Clover 125. So, I talked before about my problems with Black Clover and Kirsch picking up the idiot ball and making a lot of mistakes that it didn't seem were in his character to make. Well, his character's come full circle now. That those mistakes apparently had to happen to get to this point. I'm not excusing that. I still don't like it. I wish that we'd taken another route of maybe Magna takes a hit for him or something, and when Magna takes the hit for him, then he goes, maybe peasants aren't all bad, or he just straight up loses in a fight that doesn't involve all the traps and everything. I don't know. Either way, we're here now. There's no sense wondering about what could have been, I guess. But the arc has come full circle, his character arc at least, in this fight, because they do lose. It's Xerxes puts out this trap on the crystal, which reflects magic back, so that Magna's fireball hits the trap, and then flies back and vanishes right before it hits Magna, so that when he swings to try and knock it away, it hits him instead, and he's taken out by his own magic. Kirsch tries to fly away to get out of range of Asta's swords, and hits another trap that Xerxes put in midair. And then, in that moment that he's trying to free himself, Asta takes him out. And then the only thing that I really liked about this final fight is how Soul gets taken out. Where her golem's coming in, and Mimosa reveals that she had planted a seed way back when, and that's why she let Soul take her out. Okay, yeah, you know what? That's a good reason. I'm still not happy about how easily Mimosa ate it, but the fact that it was on purpose to be able to plant a seed, sure. Okay, that works, I guess. Golem opens up, Asta takes out the crystal, and once the fight is over, is when I start enjoying the chapter, to be honest. Because then Xerxes gives the whole team a lecture. Talks to Magna about how he gets too jazzed up and doesn't know when to back down. To Soul about how she's too trusting of her own spells and needs to be paying more attention. And to Kirsch about how he was so worried about what's beautiful and that he was working with peasants that he lost sight of the true goal. And what's cool about this to me is that Xerxes hasn't done this with the other teams. He's called the other teams they fought idiots or stupid or how they made bad decisions, but he's never told them why they lost. And what excites me the most about this is that Xerxes actually looks like he could be a really good leader. And I wonder if Xerxes in some way, we already know he's got something going on with the Wizard King. I wonder if he's in some way related to the Wizard King. Where maybe he was going to be Wizard King or something. I don't know. I feel like Xerxes, there's a lot more going on with him than we know. his magic is very powerful, but because it has to be set up first, it's not the, win button, I guess, that it could be otherwise. But I very much like how everyone is basically taught by Xerxes. And then, of course, Asta's like, you're being too mean, don't know, back off. And Xerxes is like, idiot. And Kirsch goes, Mimosa, don't look at me, don't know. And Mimosa tells him that he's the most beautiful he's ever been now, where he's acknowledged the peasant's strength, and he's fought on even when he was filthy. And that one hit me because I didn't even pay attention to that. When Kirsch comes back, of course he's filthy. He's been literally buried underground in a trap, and he comes back to fight anyway. It's like, yeah, okay. I don't like the middle section of this character arc, but it's a good character arc all the same by the time we get to the end of it. And then you have the best moment of this chapter, which is in Kirsch admits that Asta and Magnus fight where the fireball kept getting bounced back and forth. It was beautiful. Like, yeah, it really was. And that Kirsch is able to admit that about a fight between two peasants shows that he actually has grown through this fight. And makes me excited for more Kirsch in the future. I've worn my Kirsch shirt. I wish I had a Kirsch shirt. I've worn my Kirsch button on my shirt, basically, since the minute he got introduced. He's my favorite character so far. And I just want to see him grow more as a character. Because I really like his magic. I really like, what he can do with his magic. And I really like the character arc that he's been on. Despite the fact that he picked up the idiot ball for a little bit there. So yeah. And then, of course, next week we got E-Team versus G-Team. Finral hype! Next up is the Promised Neverland number 55. The kids get to sleep in a bed. They get to take a bath. Rossi begins to cry. And he's like, oh, it's weird. And everybody's like, no, it's super not weird. We found out we were on a farm full of people that were, taking us to be slaughtered, like cows, basically. And we escaped. And it was really stressful. And we finally got here. It's not weird at all to cry, Rossi. You're doing fine, buddy. For this one moment, they're safe. They have food, power, water. Everything seems fine. They have a piano to play. Everybody gets to sing and play and have fun. Emma says the thing she should never, or thinks the thing she should never have thought. Which is, it's great that nobody died. Emma, you just sealed somebody's fate. I don't know who, but somebody's going to die now because you said that. I just want you to know that. You doomed that person. It's probably going to be Gilda. I like Gilda. I don't want it to be Gilda. Point is, I've been saying for probably 6 chapters now that it's coming, and this chapter ends with the man that had been in the bunker before having freed himself with a knife. He's already told him he doesn't want him there. I don't see this going well. Somebody's dying. Somebody's dying next chapter. I'm calling it right now. If I had to guess, it'll be one of the younger kids. It'd be a huge, shake to the entire organization if it was somebody like Don. But I expect it to be one of the younger kids. And it'll be next chapter. Whether to the poachers, whether to this guy with the knife, putting the pin in it right now, probably going to be wrong, but I'm saying this next chapter, somebody dies. We end out this week with One Punch Man number 74, with the most evil monster in the universe, a porcupine, offering free hugs. His name is Free Hugger. It's the worst monster that's ever been made. What? Why would anyone do this? Why? Why? That's horrifying. This giant porcupine monster just give me a hug. And it's just gonna kill you. And Putty Putty Princess is having a lot of trouble with it. Putty Putty Princess is a weird character, though. Always has been. And clearly, I love this. The art shows us the iron ball that's on Prisoner's, I keep saying Puri Puri Princess. It's Puri Puri Prisoner. The iron ball that is on Puri Puri Prisoner's leg. The crowd is calling out to Prisoner, telling him to use the iron ball. And Prisoner decides instead to hug the porcupine and crush it. And he does. He kills it. And then his cell phone rings. And he pulls it from between his cheeks. I'll let you decide which ones. Just remember he's naked. And gets a phone call that all of his fellow prisoners, his collection of men that he's been gathering, have been stolen. He breaks his phone. And that's a really cool, first setup chapter. That could have been its own setup chapter, honestly, because One Punch Man chapters are pretty short anyway. But then we get to Saitama, who is walking through the streets, seeing that all the fights are already over. And he realizes he doesn't even remember why he wanted to be a hero. I love that so much. That the most powerful being in the universe, who kills everything with one punch, doesn't remember why he wanted to be a hero. He realizes he hasn't gained a thing from these recent fights. And honestly, he probably realized that about all his fights. The panel where he realizes that he hasn't gained anything has him where he still has hair. Actually, no, that's the wig. That's the wig from this tournament. I'm sorry. I got excited there for a second, thinking that we were going to get a big, entire character arc of Saitama thing here. No, that's the wig from the tournament. The point is, Saitama has doubts about why he's been doing anything he's been doing lately. With this tournament and finding the Hero Hunter, and I just want to see what he does next, because I have a feeling he's going to try and find the Monster Association's hideout. Either he's going to go after the Monster Association, or he's going to go on some kind of, journey back to where it all started to try and figure out why he wanted to be a hero again. And I'll be honest with you, my favorite moment in my favorite moment in One Punch Man, thinking about heroes and hero associations, my favorite moment in One Punch Man is still the moment where he becomes a hero. The moment where he fights that crab monster as just an office worker. And he's got his tie that he's pulling down and he's trying to fight. I love that fight. Because he doesn't have any great strength at that point. He just wants to be a hero. And I want Saitama to find that again. And I want to see what that journey's like to find it. Good job. So, now we come to our lightning round. I need a sound effect for that? I just realized that. I really want a sound effect for that. I'll come up with something. Point is, lightning round. One Piece chapter 878. Really good chapter. Really solid. Luffy getting Katakuri into the mirror is great, and I can't wait to see the fight that comes from that. But also Jinbei just being at the helm, getting stuff done. Perospero looks like he might have lost an arm. Good chapter. 2 thumbs up. Really solid. Dr. Stone, 27. Great character development for Chrome here. Chrome realizing it doesn't matter if he's with Ruri or not, as long as she's alive, he's happy. Found out everything about Magma, killing Gen and everything there. Very good chapter. 1 thumb up. Very excited about that. My Hero Academia 153, Catharsis! 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. Very good chapter. Very excited for where this goes. Fusion, let's go. Let's go. Robot Laserbeam 25, 1 thumb up. Very good. Very, very good. Some good character development for Robo. The whole bath time scene where Suzaku's showing off because Suzaku, of course he would. That seems perfect for his character. Very good chapter. Food Wars 231, solid chapter. I'm going to give it no thumbs up, but no thumbs down either. I'm just going to give it a middle ground. Because it's a good setup chapter, and I loved that frame of Soma telling the Council of 10 members that, hey, don't look down on us just because we're first years, basically. But I want to see some actual teamwork from them, and not just them talking about it before I get really hype for this arc. We Never Learned 31. 1 thumb up. It was a good chapter, but we didn't really get any continuation on any of our previous notes, and we got a new girl added in. And as much as I like Asami, it's still a new girl being added into the harem, and that's always a weird transitionary period where we get, as everything settles, till we get back to the status quo again. Because that is the most important thing in a harem. Black Clover 125, yes, 1 thumb up. Really love that everything has come back around for Kirsch. The first half of the chapter is, in my opinion, actually really poor, just because the pacing, and Zertz is just the one winning, basically. But, at the same time, the second half of the chapter more than makes up for it, and very excited for that. And then, of course, Finn Rawhide. Promised Neverland 55, yeah, it was a good chapter. Good middle ground again. No thumbs up, no thumbs down. Actually, you know what? No, 1 thumbs up. 1 thumb up for the scene at the end, where he's got the knife and he sets himself free, and you don't know which way that's going to go. Very excited for that. It's a really good suspense after the full panel of the piano and everybody singing and everything. And One Punch Man 74, 2 thumbs up. Great chapter. Really enjoyed the chapter this week between the most horrifying monster I've ever seen in fiction and Saitama forgetting why he was a hero even to begin with. This could go places, and I'm excited to see where it goes. 2 thumbs up, for sure. All right. So I have been Trey. This has been the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown for the week of September 18th, 2017. If you have any comments, please put them in the section below. Let us know what you think. Let me know how you felt about the chapters. Maybe you had a different lightning round reaction than I did. Go ahead and post that in the comments below, and let's get that going. If you have an email you want to send to the fullspectrumpodcast@gmail.com, and we will answer those on our weekly podcast where we talk about everything else in the stupid nerd culture. Again, finally, I've been Trey, and I will see you guys next week for another edition of the Weekly Shonen Jump Breakdown. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. The jump has to offer.